What up guys, ThatzNOTmetal983 here bringing you another CD review. Now I know it's been a few weeks since my last video, I'm not including the Warden's Throne video, but yeah, I came down for a bit of sickness lately, bit of a man flu thing going down, but I'm well again, so I thought I'd come back with a CD review for you because there's been a few releases come out lately and I really want to get a few reviews out there, so let's get this train rolling again, shall we just say. And this is what I'm going to be reviewing for you today. Yeah, this is the 2016 album from the band Anthrax, entitled For All Kings. This is released under Nuclear Blast Records. Now, everyone's heard of Anthrax. They are one of the big four, and one of the kings of thrash metal, if you ask me. In all honesty, I can't claim that I am the biggest of thrash metal fans. There's just not a lot of bands that actually click with me wholeheartedly. I mean, there's bands like Exodus, maybe Slayer from time to time, Havoc, they're one of my favourite thrash bands, Nervosa, I think Nervosa, I think that's how it's pronounced. But obviously, like, I can listen to thrash metal on the odd occasion, but it's never going to be my favourite genre. But when it comes to thrash, I always like a thrash that's not, like, full of, like, constant, like, like that stereotypical thrashy vibe, or thrash beat, or anything. I don't want it to be full of that, because I think it gets boring after a while. I like a thrash with grit, and maybe even in a sense of a groove vibe. And, just like Exodus, for example, I think they have that kind of vibe to them. But Anthrax nowadays are one of my favourite thrash metal bands, especially over the past later works. I mean, Worship Music, what they brought out in, I believe, 2011, that was an absolutely amazing piece of music. I wish I'd got to listen to it a little bit more than I did, because it might have made me top albums list back then. But honestly enough, that album is fantastic, and I've got it in my collection, as you know, the limited edition box set. And I really enjoyed that album so much that when the Anthrax announced that they were bringing out a new album, I was really, really excited, because, as I said, I loved that album to pieces, because it really, really combines a really nice sound of your typical thrash metal vibe, but having some groove metal-esque in there, and I think it really works well with thrash metal. And obviously groove metal comes from a line of thrash metal and stuff like that. Now, obviously this album is, in all honesty, when it comes to the metal community, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this album, and to be honest, I think it deserves a lot more push than that, because this, in my opinion, so far is going to be in with a chance of being album of the year. This is incredible stuff. I honestly think this is tipped the scale over Worship Music, and I love Worship Music, but as I've said, but this album is absolutely fantastic. It's got a lot of grit, a lot of heavy riffage, and some really tight musicianship going on here. Great lyrics all over the shop. The album starts off with a bit of a like kind of drum rolls going on, and then you hear the guitars fading in, and then it kicks in with a thrashy, groovy beat, and you're just like, oh yes, this is some good stuff. And then obviously when the vocals kick in, that's when it starts taking a bit more of a groove-esque to it, because it comes in with a bit more of a thrashier vibe, and then it kind of down-tempos a little bit, or eases back a little bit, and just grooves with it when the vocals come in. And I have to say, the vocals on this album are absolutely fantastic, very well pronunciated, not like over the top, like high pitch, like Dave Mustaine, for example, you know what I mean, or Judas Priest, because I'm not into that kind of stuff, but it's a very nice melodic voice, very well executed, and what more can I say? It's an absolutely great album. The drum work is very tight. There's a lot of groove in there, and some really off-time drum patterns and stuff, and it really adds a little bit of character to the album, in my opinion. And like, where you would expect it to go into thrash or even just a basic 4/4, it goes into this groovy kind of vibe throughout the album. It like hits you with unexpected drum patterns, and you just like, yeah, that is very different, but I actually think it really, really works, especially for the material that's on this album. Bass-wise, a very nice, smooth bass tone. Not really low and bassy, but nice, smooth, but really aggressive attack on there. You can feel the bass tone hitting you hard in where it needs to. The guitar riffs, as I said before, great meaty riffs, but still has a bit, quite a bit of melody in there. There's some melodic parts in this album that really break up the atmosphere and definitely give it an atmosphere, if you ask me. And there's a lot of great lead work on there. Some really great solos, very well. What's the word? Adding a lot of melodic value to it, the solos, and I really dig it. And as I said, the vocals really well executed, not very high pitched, just a kind of easy to understand what he's saying. I mean, yeah, like the whole album itself is absolutely fantastic. I actually, if I could link you to every song on this album, I would. It's fantastic. But I think the best track for you to check out would be For All Kings, the title track. That's one of my favourites. Defend, Avenge. That is an absolutely mammoth of a track. I really do love that song. And Zero Tolerance. In fact, the You Gotta Believe as well. All of them are great tracks. There really isn't a bad track on this album. There's tracks that make you think like, alright, it's not particularly my favourite, but the album as a whole, it makes you want to listen to it all the way through, and you listen to it all the way through, and you want to listen to it again and again and again, and I absolutely love this album. And I don't know if you're seeing us unpackage it there, but it's in KSIS. I love that artwork, I might as well add. Really cool. Kind of goes off Worship Music's artwork quite a bit. But yeah, you open it and you get the case there. It says stuff on that. This is the limited edition, I might add. And then you get the artwork. Awesome possum. And then you get the two members, I believe the vocalist and the bassist. Or the other guitarist, I could be wrong. And then the drummer and the other member right there. Folds out like that on the back. Awesome. The bonus disc is some live tracks, which I can't say I've listened to, but I mainly listen to the album because it's that good. I just keep on putting it on, repeat and repeat and repeat, and it's blew us away. This is definitely in with a shot of being album of the year for me. For an overall score though, I think I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. Excellent album. It may even crawl up to a 10 by year's end because we're only into March now, so we've still got a bit of time and a few killer releases that have come out and been announced and stuff like that. So we'll just see what happens towards the end of the year. But if you're into your thrash metal, you need to check this out. But if you like your thrash metal with grit and lot of groove and intensity, this is for you. Check this out. It's absolutely fantastic. A great return to form for Anthrax. And yep, that's the end of this review. I'll see you until the next video, and remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.